Hi everybody, this is Pete Delatorre, and I want to welcome you to Season 2 of BlockChain Talk. This program is brought to you by CrowdPoint Technologies. Today is Session 1. If you were with us last season, you saw the evolvement of the talk regarding blockchain and everything that is happening globally. We took the time to go through the basics, had some phenomenal guests from around the country and the world, and now we are ready and excited for this next season. To kick it off, my friend and co-host of Season 1, Sean Brehm, co-founder and chairman of CrowdPoint Technologies. Our conversation will evolve around all of the explosive growth that is going on right before our very eyes. So let's sit back and watch that conversation. Okay, everybody, here we are. The start of Season 2 of BlockChain Talk. And with me here to launch, kick it off. We had great discussions last year. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be able to do moving, and everything that's developed. Mr. Sean Brehm himself. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Pete? Good to see you.
It's been a while, and since we last came together, I'm going to say maybe 6 months ago, give or take, a lot has happened. We're not going to have time enough today to talk about everything that's happened,
No.
but in the next minute or so, can you at least put us to date of what's happened, how it's all developed, and where do you think it's going?
Yeah, I mean, it's finally going to where we've been, keeping it quiet. We're going to talk about it for the first time. If you remember last season, we talked about concepts associated with the marketplace and how it works. But really where we're at right now is we're launching. And with that launch comes a bunch of things. Yep. When we started in the very beginning, our vision was all about the human identity. How do we provide performance, protection, and privacy for the human identity? Mm-hmm. And we had to define that human identity over a period of time. Mm-hmm. And what we defined the human identity is sometimes that a human identity acts as a customer or a consumer. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it acts as an investor, and sometimes it plays the role of a member of a company. So how do you provide, the original vision is with the blockchain, we can provide so much more liquidity to the human identity. Well, in each role, how do we do that? And the end state is coming. We've been working on this now for about a year and a half. We've built our blockchain version 1.0 is out. We've built a bunch of concepts, and the concepts are simple. Since we last talked to you, we've been moving ahead of schedule. We now have banks. We actually have 3 banks. We have one bank that is focused on an investment banking. We have another bank that's focusing on carbon credits and renewable energy, and a third bank that's focused on the retail banks, retail consumers. Mm-hmm. That was exciting for us because it meant we now had a way to provide security tokens and merchant coins that were literally on a bank ledger with a license for a bank to do so. And so as you probably seen in the news recently, President Biden's made some comments about cryptocurrency. The SEC has fined a number of companies about doing some things. Yes. And, as you know, Pete, we had some quiet conversations. A lot of people were like, Sean, just announce you've got the world's fastest blockchain. It's actually a database. It does all these things. You could be a multi-billionaire today. You could raise $1 billion. And we said, no, we're going to go the Boy Scout route. We're going to do it right. Mm-hmm. And that was because our vision was about protecting the human identity. So when it comes to the human identity as a customer, we have stood up these marketplaces where we drive revenue to a marketplace. Now that marketplace is made up of over 1,000 distributors. Each one of those distributors can bring their dreams, and we can drive traffic to a centralized location. But unlike Amazon or any other Shopify store that you might see out there, this is merely an assembly of dreams. It's an assembly of little boxes, and each box represents a website or a product. But when you click on that product or you click on that link, you actually depart the marketplace and you go out to the individual person's website. And on that website, it's a one-on-one kind of back to the good old days relationship with a business owner and his customer. But the difference is it's distributed. The checkout engine, everything's powered by our Vogon blockchain. Mm-hmm. So that means even though they have left a marketplace. They're part of a decentralized and distributed marketplace. They all belong to a common marketplace, but the consumer has an individual relationship with that company, and that is launched. With that distributed marketplace comes distributed commerce, and distributed commerce means obviously business to consumer, business to business, and then we get into moving quickly into the area of commodities and tokens and merchant coins. And that's our third leg of the stool. We have been working with our transfer agents on the blockchain and building out a next generation listing exchange, which we call CBEX. Now, all of a sudden, when you enter the industry or you enter our ecosystem as a consumer, those profits that you make, those dividends that we reimburse you for the use of your identity, that gets put into a wallet in one of our banks. And then instead of getting a toaster when you open an account with our bank, you get a new kind of wallet, a new kind of digital asset management wallet, a new kind of portfolio wallet where your bank account has cryptocurrency and it has regulated merchant coins, security tokens. Now, all of a sudden, that extra money that you've made from the use of identity, you can take that new income or that saved income and you can apply it towards your future. Because the public markets, interestingly enough, aren't public anymore. Do you know that out of the 13 public exchanges in the United States, 12 of them are privately owned by three, and those 12 are owned by 3 companies. So now when you try to do a commerce with a broker or dealer, they're always going to move you to the exchange that makes them the most commission, not you. And we've certainly seen companies like Robinhood come up, and you saw that turned out to be a disaster, right? So the vision all along that we didn't talk about, I know I talked to you about it, was someday, how do we go back to the original Buttonwood Agreement of 1792? The original Buttonwood Agreement was created in 1792. We just finished the Revolutionary War. It was in May of 1792. George Washington was firmly, after unanimously elected by the Electoral College, firmly in his second term as President of the United States. We had just got the Constitution passed in 1789, and it was manifest destiny. It was time to go ahead and take care of your family. The American colonials at that time knew their why, and their why was, how do I build up wealth for my family and my family's generations? But their what was they needed capital to do that, and there wasn't enough capital. So the Buttonwood Agreement came together and created a marketplace where you could buy or sell, trade things, so that companies, individuals that wanted to trade companies could create companies, could leverage the markets to create a company. And it was a not-for-profit. And it's all of them stayed not for profit until about 10 years ago, and that changed. And we saw that.
So we created what's important about everything that you're sharing with us here today and the conversations we had is, and we've seen in the news, we've seen a lot of the Ponzi schemes with cryptocurrency, and like you said, the president stepped in an executive order. I mean, when that happens is that they want to get things done right now because of what they're seeing developing there. But the key to all this, and the thing that I think is, we talk about transparency and all that, is the fact that CrowdPoint is running towards compliance as opposed to trying to just, kind of check in from the time to time and hide away from compliance. CrowdPoint is running towards compliance, totally transparent, because that's totally transparent, a big concern.
And it's taken us longer. We could have certainly, been a multi-billion-dollar company, with revenue, but what good would that revenue be if it was all going to be taken away from our people that belong to that? So we moved slow. We got our ducks in the order. We leveraged the Jobs Act under the Obama administration. It was an act that was designed to help small businesses get what the original Buttonwood Agreement was about. And you needed to be regulated. And so we had to get a regulated transfer agent. We had to make sure our blockchain was regulated. We had to make sure all our processes are regulated. We had to make sure that we can't say things. And so that's what we've done. And so we are now in the process and have signed contracts with companies. So you've been in this business a while. You've heard of it, certainly, as many of your viewers have seen an initial public offering before, right? They've probably heard of that. And then on the crypto side, you've heard of ICOs. Those are called initial crypto offerings. Well, at CrowdPoint, we've built an exchange listing service that does a DPO. And a DPO is a direct public offering. That's where you connect an investor directly with the CEO of a company, and you bring them together and you let them conduct the original Buttonwood Agreement of 1792, the ability to leverage a marketplace where companies, when the human identity is expressed as a member of a company, can leverage the power of many to fund their company and grow something great without having to maybe deal with venture capitalists or private equity. It's just a simple conversation between an investor and a business owner. And that's
what I wanted. That's what I wanted to get to. You mentioned CEO. Normally the mind, when people think CEO, major corporation. No, we're talking CEO of your business.
Yeah.
You're the owner of that business. Exactly.
Yeah. Small and medium business. I mean, if you look at the backbone of the American economy, it's in the small and medium businesses. But if you look at the public markets represent only about 33% of the GDP, and they've got a great place. I'm not bashing the public markets.
Right.
Do I think it's problematic that they've moved from not-for-profits to profit organizations? Yes, I do, honestly. Because what happens is maybe their intentions were pure, but the systems and the cascading systems that have behind there have kind of corrupted the original agreement of 1792.
Exactly.
So our idea was to go back to that. But instead of worrying about the big guys, we wanted to work on the little guys. And we wanted to give that human identity a chance that when they save money on a transaction, they can put that money in a wallet and they can take that money and they can allocate it into a business that's a small business and growing. Because let's face it, we make fun of cryptocurrency quite a bit. We won't say any names, but sometimes they say we should jokingly call it the Bernie Madoff coin, because when you buy a coin for $37,000, where does that money go?
Yep.
Well, it goes into the pocket of the sucker that got in before you, right? And so everybody's pumping it because they want to get out, right? Mm-hmm. And do I think some of those cryptos will go up to 100,000? Yes, but I think it'll be just like the New York Stock Exchange in 1928, and it's going to make a huge crash, right? Yep. And at the bottom, there's no floor because there's nothing backing cryptocurrency other than the promise of an idea that you'll be able to get someone else to buy you out at any time. There's no fundamental utility of worth. And there's no secondary markets that really drive the difference between price and value. So we really made sure that we created that. So we've created these marketplaces where real commerce is transacting by real companies. Mm-hmm. And those real companies are represented in the form of security tokens that are listed in a private marketplace. But instead of, worrying about trying to get all these intermediaries in the way, it's just a CEO of a small business or a mid-market with an investor. Mm-hmm. They come up with a price. We follow regulations. We follow regulation A+. We follow your regulation C, F, and we follow regulations D, and we make sure they're done by the letter of the law. Mm-hmm. But in the end, it's about an investor doing a really powerful thing. See, investing is one of the greatest gifts you can give. You can give it, you're giving not only a chance for someone like Pete to start a business, or myself or anybody else to start a business, which is an incredible gift, right? When you're taking extra income and you're taking risk and you're giving somebody. But here's the gift that keeps on giving. Well, there's a lot of tax benefits to investing. Your capital gains is far less than normal income. There's about 9 other factors. If you come to our website, we'll tell you the 9 reasons why you should invest in a small, medium business. But the real power is this. If 33% of the global domestic product is in the publicly traded markets around the world, and when the public trading markets react to inflationary decisions made by whatever administration, whether it's a donkey, whether it's or it's an elephant, whatever it is, mm-hmm. The rest of us, the 66% of the GDP, pay the price.
Of course.
But when you create an alt market, one that's immutable and transparent and stored on a blockchain, so that every transaction can't be hidden, and there can be no off-ledger transactions, no off-ledger trading,
and no altering of the information.
No altering of the information. You create an open, honest, stable market, and that's what last year's show was all about. Was talking about each one of the sectors. But now what we're done is we've taken all 11 sectors, we put them together as folios inside a singular exchange system, of which we are taking small and medium businesses representing 66% of the GDP from Dubai, from the United States, from you name it, from Brazil, around the world. and we're taking them and conducting a DPO, a direct public offering.
What's really been interesting the last few months is the relationships that have been formed with the country, with Dubai, with the water now that's being distributed from the Azores,
Yeah.
with the country of Portugal and others that are out there. And the other thing we didn't hit on was the backing of silver.
Yeah.
On you want to explain a little bit of that, because that's you were talking about things crashing and not having a base. I think when you talk about silver, I think that's a game changer as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. The other day, I was explaining to our internal staff about the roles that the human identity plays, and I aligned the roles of the human identity with the Wizard of Oz, and because I did some research. In this 1870s, the Wizard of Oz was written because Oz was becoming run by a few people behind the curtains with levers, and then they had these people that were kind of protecting them from issues. And really, what it was about at the time, there were a number of wealthy tycoons at the time that wanted to move the United States off the gold and silver standard, and they did so. And the reason why they did so is that once you're able to move a country off a silver or gold standard, it becomes far easier just to print money. And if you're printing money and you're making 3 cents on every dollar, then you could create something called the Federal Reserve. And in 1870s, that book Oz was written about, hey, how that's wrong, because it could lead to disaster, because now we don't have any economy that's backed by anything. So the Wizard of Oz was really a story describing the political things of their day. Now, we all saw it, as kids, and certainly our grandparents saw it probably I think it came out in 1942. But I said, look, you have to look at Dorothy as the nobility and the human identity. But sometimes Dorothy has different roles as that human identity. Sometimes she's a consumer. And when you think about the consumer, she's like the Tin Man. Mm-hmm. Now, why the Tin Man? Because the Tin Man wanted what? Wanted a heart.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you got to bring the heart back to the wallets of consumers, right? And so acting as a Tin Man, she's going to make emotional decisions, or he's going to make emotional decisions. And we need to feel that the vendor on the other side is looking out for us. Mm-hmm. So how do you bring that hometown general store, I care about you mindset back to commerce again? So that's the Tin Man. And then I said, then you have to worry about the Scarecrow. Now the Scarecrow wanted what?
The brain.
A brain. Well, today, so many people that I meet, I don't understand any of this cryptocurrency stuff, Sean. I don't understand what blockchain is, and I don't understand investing at all. I'm like, well, you got to understand that investing is a marketplace was created in the 1790s so that small businesses could take their dreams to someone else and leverage the power of the crowd. And there's that point, or that crowd point, when everybody agrees that this is a good thing, and that small business takes off and becomes something big today. Yep. But you as an investor benefit because you get to ride along the way, and you get a lot of tax benefits, and you get a lot of you can actually get more income from that than you can normal income. It's better than a savings account by putting it in a bank. So there's so many benefits. It's amazing. The more you give, the more you get. And so investing is a great concept, but you have to educate. You need a brain for investment, and it has to be made simple. So I tell people in our company, I was saying, you have to recognize that we have to give the Scarecrow a brain. And then the third identity is that of the lion. And the lion needed what?
Courage.
How hard is it for the average person to start a business?
It takes a lot of courage.
Takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
So if you've got a lion and you have the ability to instill that lion in each and every one of us and create the courage, then all of a sudden I said to him, guys, when you think about the Oz, our Oz is the exchange system that we built. There's no more hiding things behind the curtains. You see, we don't have a wicked witch of the East with all her little monkeys that are going to block you on your path. We've created a path, and that path is our yellow brick road is the fact that we have banks that own a blockchain, that have big data analytics, that have established distributed commerce to drive traffic to a single location, to drive revenue. We measure that revenue and we report it back on the exchange by 11 market sectors and indices, so that your company is being reported on a daily basis on your performance, so that investors have the brain and the heart and the courage to start a business, to invest in your business, or buy from you. And everybody wins.
Sean, just to interchange, when I think about the Wizard of Oz, you know, when the three of them and Dorothy visited, and you had this big voice and this big, powerful monster almost talking to them, right?
Yeah.
And they were scaring them away. But behind the curtain, it was just a regular guy, okay, behind the scenes, you know, doing things to try to scare them away and all that. And I think that, and you just enlightened me here. The whole concept about transparency, about blockchain, is to allow each one of us to be able to face the marketplace and not be scared off by the big guns, by corporate America. So it gives us that power. We're empowered with all of this that we never
No, I
were.
think you're right. Sometimes I think big businesses become more of a mob because there's this culture where everybody's upset with each other. The mob kind of takes over the company. I don't think the decisions a lot of these big techs make are because I sometimes feel like it's a headless monster where nobody's in charge, right?
Right,
And
right.
so, you know, what's great about the small and medium businesses is there is someone in charge. And did you know, you take a guess on what you think what do you think the global market size is of middle market companies around the world? How big do you think it is?
Oh man, obviously it's in the billions. I just don't know to what level. I know it's got to be
Mind
there.
boggling. It's $11.7 trillion.
Trillion. Excuse me.
Now, here's what's really interesting. Here's what's interesting. About 10 and a half to 10.7 trillion reside in the United States. So that means out of 257 countries around the world, the US has 10.5 to 10.7 trillion of the $11.7 trillion marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Our plan, and that's why we were in Dubai and those other countries you see us, and we met with members of the royal family, was when you have a strong middle market and when you have a strong small industrial base, you have egalitarianism. And when you have egalitarianism, you have fairness. And when you have fairness, you have better governance, you have better policies, you have a better democracy. And what's happened around the world is that the backbone of what has made America a great experience in democracy was that we had the small and medium businesses. It's the small and medium businesses that rose up to scale to fight against Nazi tyranny. It's been and to fight against the empire of the sun. It was all of these people that came together in these small businesses. And what's happened is we have too many people worried about a W-2, what somebody will give you versus what's your worth. So our dream was to reinvigorate the American dream.
A W-9 is better than a W-2.
It is, because you're in charge of your destiny.
You're in charge of your
Everybody
destiny.
should have be in charge of this. So the question is, when you enter to our ecosystem, we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of you, Dorothy. We're going to take care of you, whether you're in the role that day at the Tin Man, because we're going to make sure there's heart and wallets in our commerce, because we have 3 banks who are focusing on the heart of banking and the heart of people. We're going to make sure that if you're the scarecrow, we're going to give you that education to make the right investment. And if you're a small business owner, we're going to make you that lion and give you the courage to roar and build something amazing. Because let's be honest, there in so many ways, cryptocurrency, as I said, is I always ask my friends who I was in crypto for a while, and then I realized what it was. And, you know, I'm not downplaying it. I love the crypto model. We're taking much of the dreaming and concepts, but we're just racing towards regulation, because it doesn't make sense to me to be involved in a currency where if you use Ethereum, it costs you $50 to buy a $20 pizza.
Exactly.
And gas money, right? That doesn't make sense.
Yep.
And it doesn't make sense that constantly you're just reacting to a marketplace where it's got, you know, inflationary measures, and it's really manipulated by a few market makers. I know some of them. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't make sense. That's not egalite. That's not egalitarianism. What's fair is when you can say, hey, investor, in many ways, cryptocurrency is a lot like the public markets, because by the time you get in, the guys who are on the seed round, Series A and Series B, they all got paid off. So that money goes to pay them off, pay off the bank, and a little bit left to do the operations of the company, right? It's not like all that money you put in is helping the organization or a company grow that much. Most of it's already been put in by private banking, and you're just paying off the private bankers. But But when you invest it in a marketplace where you've got people that created a small little company called Woo Bamboo, or Vicky's that's got this great cream, or or Vital Elements, which is the hair cream I've been using for 4 months. It's got my hair super thick again. You know, all private, small little companies. When you invest in their marketplace as they grow, and you invest in companies like that, you're on the inside track. And people say, well, Sean, you know, why wouldn't you build this technology for the public markets? I said, I look at it as the major leagues. If you want to work with us and you want to grow your company and you eventually want to go to the public markets, vaya con Dios, right?
Yeah.
Go for it. We helped you get there. And we want you to, because if you really hit it bigger than what you did with us, then all those people that got in when you were a mid-market company or a small business and own those security tokens, they're going to have a huge exit, right? But for those of you that want to contribute to $11.7 trillion market, call it the minor leagues, but it's not a bad minor leagues to be in.
It's not. And that is economic development. And that does feed communities and cities and states and creates jobs. And, you know, it's what you said a little earlier. You know, I think today we have a little bit over 30 million small businesses in the United States. That is the backbone, has always been the backbone of this country, will continue to be. And I'm in South Florida. This is the Mecca of small business. We don't have large industries here. So we're out there entrepreneurial, you know, resourceful, making things happen. And I think, you know, everything we're talking today is great for our market here. But I think, you know, looking at all of this it's a paradigm shift, because we can't look at blockchain with thinking, you know, the way we've been thinking the last 20, 30 years. You know, it's like you said, we go back to the roots, to the Buttonwood Agreement, and bring that to the forefront. Okay, now that we've gone through all this, how can we bring that back to light and make it happen? So what we're going to be doing here for the next 10, 11 weeks, give or take, is to take deep dives to each one of these folios. Some are a little bit more advanced on your end than some of the others that are still developing and getting in place. But consumer staples with Harry, you know, advanced medicines, all those are starting to come together. So we're going to be able to share information real time as it's coming out. In many cases, for the first time. I
think you're going to be at a chance. I think you're going to interview our a company that recently invested in us, a company called M-Bank.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you're going to be talking to the founder. Lars is a true visionary, right?
Yep.
And so when we had a chance to meet with M-Bank, they saw that our vision of a bank and theirs, and next thing you know, we've got 3 banks that we're putting together with them. So I think that's going to tie a bow around a lot of the concepts. So when you look at the financial sector and you look at banking, M-Bank is really redefining banks, and we're just blessed beyond belief that we're a partner with them, and we're actually inside one of our own sectors, which is super exciting.
That is fantastic. Sean, we got about a minute left, man. Like I said, I think, you know, you've been working on this a long time, but it seems to me the last 4 to 6 months, it's really exploded. I mean,
it has.
And you know, you get to a level where you've gone so far in, and then it really takes off, and you can't afford to look back. You got to go with that.
Yeah,
God gave you the opportunity.
Mode.
You know.
Yeah, we're in that hyper growth mode. We're going to be making some very major announcement with some very major, well-known investment bankers that have come in to assist us on this journey. It's not the same company. It's you know, it's growing massively. We're putting systems in place. We're hiring. We're all over the world, as you can see by our accounts. We're just up here and over there. And I've got a team today in Dana Point, California, talking with major banking and financial institutions. We've got, you know, we're just, every day is a nonstop day. I don't even know where half the staff is on a daily basis. So I'm just glad that, you know, we're here. I'm glad you helped us along the way to kind of quietly provide everybody a simple background. But today we are creating a new kind of exchange. And that new kind of exchange is only new because we're taking something old called the Buttonwood Agreement, and we're just invigorating it with technology. We're just putting a blockchain around it and putting a couple banks around it. And then we're bringing people on a journey, and their yellow brick road is financial freedom. And that yellow brick road is held up by technologies like big data, artificial intelligence, blockchain, customer relationship management, IPFS, lots of cool technologies that make up the yellow brick road. But at the end of the day, as you walk down that yellow brick road as the human identity, the customer wins. Your identity as a customer wins because we're dealing with companies that are giving you rebates in the form of tokens that go back into your bank account. And if you sign up and join our bank, we'll give you access to all your tokens. And so instead of a toaster, you now have a chance to invest. And you can invest that money in salmon commodities. You can invest it in cobalt out of Burundi. You can invest it in silver out of Mexico. You can invest, or the United States, or you can have a merchant coin that's part of a healthcare organization, or you can own security tokens of a company that's selling water out of France, or you don't want to just get into one water company. You want to own parts, all of them, so you can get into an exchange trading fund where you have one token that represents lots of other tokens.
Yep.
So
yep.
it's a truly seminal moment, an exciting time. And I think it's part of a great awakening and returning back to what's great.
I love it. And I'm so glad to be part of it and be part of this journey. And we have tons and tons of things to talk about as we move forward. So, Sean, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for helping us open up season 2. We're going to get some really cool people, some just global experts that are going to be joining us the next few weeks. And I can't wait.
Yeah,
I
real
can't
giants.
Wait to, yeah.
I can't wait to hear him speak either.
It's going to be terrific. Sean, brother, thank you. And again, blessings to you, Marlene, for your little guy who's, I don't think he's going to be a little guy much longer.
He's going to be a big kid. Yeah.
Okay, my friend. Listen, take care. God bless you.
Thanks very much. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Super exciting conversation with Sean. As you can tell, things are happening fast right before our very, very eyes. So get yourself ready for an enormous season 2 of BlockChain Talk. When you get a moment, follow me on all of my social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And if you got a moment, I'm going to humbly ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pete Delatorre. Every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard is the broadcast of BlockChain Talk, which is brought to you by CrowdPoint Technologies. So, my friends, thank you very much. You have yourself a fantastic week. See you real soon. Take care.